Alrighty, I'm back with another video, folks, and yeah, I'm back at my N scale layout. As you can see, it's been a while since I ran my N scale trains and my HO narrow gauge trains as well. And yeah. So folks, yeah, so basically folks, uh yeah, so what was I gonna say? Today I figure I go into a little bit more detail. You know what? Yes, I'll go into just a little bit more detail about my future model train layouts, alright? Alright. I'll go into little bits, alright? I'm gonna go into little bits, but I'm not going into all of it, alright? Today you're just gonna hear little bits of it, alright? So yeah, folks, for plan A, as much as I really wanted to do plan A for my future layouts, um, I don't think it's gonna work out plan A for me. But the good news to that is that at least I have a plan B, and plan B will always work. Unless I have to go to plan C and plan B doesn't work out, but let's hope that's not the case. Let's hope plan B is going to work out since plan A is not looking good for me, all right? Yeah, so for plan B, folks, is that's what I'm more going towards now. So for plan B, the goal for me for plan B is to have 4 model train layouts. All right, 4 model train layouts. 2 for HO scale. All right, 2 for HO scale. 1 being for DCC. And that track I'm planning to use Atlas Code 100 or Waltzers and all that. And then for the switch tracks, I think I'm gonna use that Pecco, whatever it's called, or Waltzers, Walders, whatever you call it. One of them, but yeah, that's what I'm gonna use all that for the DCC layout. And then for DC, and then the other HO layout, will be DC. And the DC layout is gonna be for all my like trains that are like mostly DC, especially including for my Thomas and Friends Bachmann models for HO scale Bachmann. And yeah, and for that, and for my second HO layout, which is gonna be DC, I think that one I'm gonna do probably all Bachmann track, I think, but I don't know yet. And then for switch tracks, the only time I might use switch tracks for that layout, the DCHO layout, is for if I'm using it for the yard or something, like a train yard or something. I don't know, but not to like switch tracks or whatever though, and everything to get on for trains to get onto the other track, like it is going to be for my DCC layout. But it's a long story to that, folks, and all that. But I'll explain more of that though when like it gets closer and everything and all that. So yeah. So yeah, I might use some other track for my HODC layout, but more of the plan is that I think I'm gonna stick with mostly a Bachmann Easy Track for my HODC layout. And then decorate it though and everything. And all that. But yeah, that's all I'll get into about that though. And all that. And yeah. And I'm not going to say any more about that. So yeah, there you have it. 2 HO layouts, one being DCC, one being DC. And then now for my 2 N scale layouts. My 2 N scale layouts. It's the same exact reasons, all right? One's going to be DCC and one's going to be DC for the same exact reasons. I mean, but just however though, it's just that like the track though and everything, I'm still undecided on what track I want to use for my DCC N scale layout. I'm still undecided what track I want to use for my DCC N scale layout. I'm still undecided about that, and for like switches and all that. And as for my DC N scale layout, I think I'm probably gonna do all Bachmann Easy Track like it is right here, and decorate the layout as well and everything, just so I can like run my HO narrow gauge trains as well. And yeah. Alright, yeah, that's all the information I'm gonna get into and all that, folks. So I figured that's as much as I'll tell you right there about it. And yeah, so there you have it. And I did write down on the piece of paper, and I might have shown you guys before of it though and all that, but yeah, you can go back and look at that though. But I might switch some things up with it and all that though. But other than that, that's the furthest detail. That's as much detail as I'm going into for my plan B of my 4 model train layouts, which 2 being HO scale, of 1 being DC and the other DCC, and then the other 2 model layouts of trains would be N scale of DC and DCC. So yeah, that's as much detail as I'm going into right there, even though I said some things and all that, what I had to say. So yeah, that's as far as I'm gonna go into. And yeah. But yeah, I think once the time starts getting closer to like when this project is basically, I'm mapping out the layout now and everything. That's what I'm currently working on right now, is like mapping out the layouts and everything, and like how I want it to be. But yeah, once I start like creating like the layout and everything, then yeah. Once I start creating the layout, folks, then once I start once I start creating the layout, folks, then then I'll update you guys a little bit more and everything, unless I change my mind and want to do more details on it in the future. But for now, I think you guys know enough details, because my 4 model train layouts in the future, like I said, 2 being HO and 2 being N scale, and for both of my future HO layouts, 1 being DC, 1 being DCC. Same thing with my 2 N scale future layouts, 1 DC and the other DCC. Which those are 4 model train layouts total of mine for the future. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say, folks. You know what? That's all I'm gonna say. I just wanted to be a surprise of what these future for model train layouts are going to look like, all right? I really want it to be a surprise. And all right, I'll add one more thing. Possibly for my DC, possibly though, I was gonna I was planning to do this for uh my plans for plan A, but now that I'm doing plan B, that I was not gonna do this anymore, but I actually changed my mind a bit. I think I might, if I feel like doing so, I might potentially custom make a couple or maybe up to a few Sodor scenery sites for my DC N scale and DC HO layout. If I have room, I might create I might custom make a couple or a few Sodor scenery sites and all that. That is not made by Bachman. So yeah. All right, that's all there is to say, folks. All right, leave a like, subscribe, and yeah, that's all the details I'm going into about my layouts and everything. And but no, the day I start working on my layouts and everything, and the day that it's fully 100% done, all of my layouts, all four of my layouts, then yeah, once I finish them all and everything, or only one, two, or three of them, or even all four of them, then you guys will really know what I mean when I finally surprise you guys and show you guys the layouts and everything once it's fully done. Then you guys will really understand. You will no, you will all understand why I wanted to keep this such a surprise. Because it's going to be amazing, folks. It really is. And yeah, all right, that's enough detail right there. And oh, actually, I can actually give one more out. All right, I'll give maybe one more out. All right. So for my DCCHO layout, I'm planning to have that one. The biggest one, the biggest layout I do out of all four of them. So my DCC layout for HO scale is going to be the biggest one out of all of them. And then my DCHO layout will be like somewhat close to my DCCHO layout. And then for my DCC N scale and DC N scale layout, probably about the same size. Or what? Or if I end up doing like 3 layouts, then. But I don't know, folks. All right. I feel you guys. All right. I feel you guys already heard enough. So yeah, leave a like, subscribe, and yeah, I promise you guys once the time gets closer and I start working on this in real life, I start making the layouts, then I'll show you guys the progress and everything and all that a little bit. But then when the layout's really done, once it's fully done, then that's when it's time for me to surprise you guys and what it's going to look like, because this is why it's worth me surprising you guys with this, because it's going to be worth it. and I think it's going to impress a lot of Thomas and Friends fans out there. All right, leave a like, subscribe, peace out. Thank you all for watching.